Tonight on Y News. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology studies the possibility of lowering Taal's alert level if the volcano's activity continues to decrease. Some Batangas residents were allowed to return to their homes despite of the implemented lockdown amid the Taal Volcano's unrest. Authorities urge residents to heed warnings as they list down areas that are within Taal Volcano's danger zones. Learn the ways on how to prepare for an imminent major volcanic eruption. Exclusive UNTV News tests the effectivity of various face masks inside the DOST laboratory. Good evening. Authorities continue to observe the seeming silence of the Taal volcano after it erupted last Sunday. Phivolcs says what appears to be a volcano calming down may still pose danger in the coming days. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology is asking the public to give them more time to observe the decrease in Taal Volcano's activities. The Chief of Phivolcs Volcano Monitoring and Prediction Division, Maria Antonia Bornas, says that based on their observation since yesterday, the activities of the Taal Volcano's surface has become less. According to Bornas, this may mean that either its activities will continue to subside or the volcano is just generating strength. Tremors also indicate that the magma is continuously moving up the volcano.
Mas gusto nga sana natin lahat na matapos na, di ba? Kung puputok man siya ng malakas, pumutok na sana para tapos na. Kaso kung katulad po ng 1754 na may cycles talaga na tatahimik, magkakaroon ng low-level activity, tapos magbi-build up or magkakalal, tapos biglang puputok ng malakas. And then another cycle ng ganun. So ganun kasi yung 1754.
Phivolcs appeals to the public not to be annoyed when the Taal Volcano's alert level is to be lowered because as of now, there is a possibility of a hazardous eruption. Alert level 4 remains. Phivolcs personnel were also able to access satellite images from the United States Geological Survey or USGS. They saw the water in the volcano's main crater has dried up. Lava fountain was observed last Monday. Phivolcs calls on the public not to enter the 14-kilometer danger zone because the volcano may erupt anytime.
Among scientists, we always say that evacuation is a political decision. We can only advise. Masyado pong mahirap po na decision para sa mga local government officials yung pagpapalikas. Masyadong maraming factors po sila na kino-consider, hindi lang po yung science. No?
Phivolcs web application www.hazardhunter.georisk.gov.ph may be used to check which areas may be affected by the possible hazards caused by a volcano. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Authorities reiterate their appeal to the public to avoid the areas within the danger zones of the Taal volcano due to an imminent major eruption. Bernard Dadis will tell us why.
More than 500 volcanic quakes have been recorded by the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology since the eruption of the Taal volcano last January 12. According to Phivolcs, there is a possibility of a major volcanic eruption.
Yung mga paglindol, yung naulat po na pagbitak ng lupa kahapon, nung isang araw pa, at ang pag-atras ng tubig ng lawa, pati na rin po ang pagtuyo ng Pansipit River, maaring maging malakas na pagputok ng bulkan. Kaya po sa kasalukuyan ay nakatalaga pa ang alert level 4 sa paligid po ng Bulkang Taal.
Because the Taal volcano remains on alert level 4, the 14-kilometer permanent danger zone and the 20-kilometer extended danger zone are in effect. Total evacuation must be implemented within the 14-kilometer danger zone. These are the town of Agoncillo, San Nicolas, Talisay, Balete, and Mataas na Kahoy. Almost the whole towns of Lemery, Laurel, Tagaytay City, Tanawan City, and Cuenca, and some barangays in towns of Taal, Santa Teresita, Alitagtag, San Jose, Lipa City, and Malbar. Within the 20-kilometer radius extended danger zone are Tagaytay City, Tanawan City, Malbar, Alitagtag, Santa Teresita, Taal, Lemery, Mendez, Indang, Alfonso, Amadeo, and Silang in Cavite, and Calamba City in Laguna, Santo Tomas, Malbar, Lipa City, San Jose, San Pascual, Bawan, San Luis, Calaca, Balayan, and Nasugbu in Batangas based on Phivolcs hazard map. In case a major eruption occurs, there is a possibility of a base surge.
Yung pag may matayog tayong eruption column, tapos medyo pag marami nang iniitsa na pinong abo, bumibigat masyado kasi yung column. So nagko-collapse yun. Yung nagko-collapse yun yung nagiging base surge. Pero yung mas nakakatakot talaga ay yung blast. Kasi pwedeng yung column malikha siya ng napakalakas na blast. Sa blast mismo nanggagaling yung surge. Sa moment na nalikha siya, subsonic ang speed.
The base surge will affect the towns of Talisay, San Nicolas, Laurel, Agoncillo, Lemery, Taal, Santa Teresita, and Tanawan City. Parts of Alitagtag, Cuenca, Lipa City, Mataas na Kahoy, and Balete. According to Phivolcs, ballistic projectile and huge rocks from the volcano might reach parts of Talisay, San Nicolas, Agoncillo, and Lemery. Such debris from the volcano can destroy houses and buildings. Volcanic tsunami is also possible in barangays surrounding Taal Lake. The government calls for cooperation from the public to follow safety precautions for their safety since Taal Volcano remains active. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Caloocan City.
Despite a total lockdown implemented in several towns in Batangas province, some residents still want to return to their homes. Authorities continue to remind residents to follow the advice of authorities not to enter the danger zones. Lea Ilagan details why.
Some towns in Batangas affected by the Taal Volcano eruption are now on total lockdown. This means no one is allowed to enter those areas. The entry to Lemery, Agoncillo, Talisay, Laurel, and Balete is prohibited because of possible danger. 2,000 police officers have been deployed to man the entry and exit points to those areas. Calabar Zone Director, Police Brigadier General Vicente Danao Jr. says they are exercising maximum tolerance on residents eager to return their homes. Police allow only 1 to 2 members of a family to go home only for a limited time and only with valid reasons.
May limited time lang kaming ibinigay kasi sabi namin sa kanila, hindi namin pwedeng payagan kayo dyan forever kasi what is the use of the evacuation pag lahat naman babalik. So the same people na naman, kakakutin na naman natin lahat. Dapat siguro in every family, katulad nung pina-implement namin dun sa mga hard-hit areas, in every family siguro, isa, dalawa lang, hindi yung buong pamilya ang babalik.
Army Brigadier General Marceliano Teofilo meanwhile says that allowing the residents back to their houses is dangerous and might just create more problems.
Yung iba kasi nagbabalikan yun ng mga challenge na tinatake natin. Kaya yung ating kapulisan ay nag-establish ng checkpoint para sa gano'n, na-avoid na nila yung pagpunta doon. Kasi yung ina-avoid kasi natin, pagka nandun may pumasok, and that will again be another problem. Kasi pagka pumutok na at nandun sila, mahirapan pati yung mga rescuers, mahirapan na pumasok din.
1,000 military personnel and 99 vehicles are being used in rescue operations. The PNP Maritime Group is also strictly monitoring the situation in Taal Lake.
May patrol crafts kami doon na umiikot sa Taal Lake to make sure na walang bangka na lalaot papunta towards the volcano. At saka any civilian along the coastal line, wala dapat civilian na makikita along the coastal line.
The PNP Maritime Group has rescued not only residents but also animals.
In order to appease those owners, sige, ikarga natin sa barges yung inyong mga kabayo, yung mga aso, yung mga mga baka, para lang umalis kayo dyan.
29 horses and 3 cows have been rescued since Wednesday. Authorities remind the public to follow orders to avoid any untoward incidents. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Krame.
Are you ready for a possible major eruption of Taal Volcano? Here are some tips on what to do to keep yourself and your family out of harm's way in such an emergency. Let's watch this.
The Taal Volcano's crater has become dry. New fissures are found in different parts of the volcano. According to Phivolcs, this means a destructive major eruption may occur. If you or your relative live within the danger zones, it is important to be prepared. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, says the government is ready to evacuate residents that may be affected by such volcanic activity. In particular are those within the 14-kilometer permanent danger zone. But not only the government and agencies, but also families and households must be aware of the necessary safety measures for what may come. Prepare a go bag. This should contain food items, bottled water, clothes, medicines, first aid kit, and other necessities that can last for even a few days. Secure important documents and identification cards. Know the designated evacuation centers in your areas, as well as contact details of hospitals and authorities to call upon in times of emergency. When evacuation is imposed, do not hesitate to evacuate. Don't panic so that you can plan well and monitor updates.
Alam na din nila kung paano pupuntahan itong mga evacuation centers na to. At dapat pag mayroong pagtawag ng paglikas, meron na silang dapat dala. Hindi yung dun pa lang sila magliligpit, maglalagay sa bag, at saka aalis.
If a major volcanic eruption occurs, avoid going inside or near structures or buildings that might collapse because of possible earthquakes during the eruption. Don't depend your safety on merely experiences.
Pakinggan natin at sundin natin yung payo ng ating mga siyentipiko at ng mga rekomendasyon o mga ipinag-uutos ng ating pamahalaan lokal para sigurado tayo na makaligtas.
When taking shelter in an evacuation center, make sure to ask from government personnel for your necessities. For residents who will not be directly affected by the volcanic eruption, prepare a face mask for possible ash fall. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue.
When ashfall occurs, the public is advised to wear a face mask to prevent them from inhaling harmful particles. And it is important to know the difference between the types of masks. Ray Pelayo will explain why in this exclusive report.
UNTV News was allowed to enter the Advanced Device and Materials Testing Laboratory of the Department of Science and Technology Industry Technology Development Institute, or DOST-ITDI. The laboratory is equipped with this state-of-the-art instrument specially designed to extract details of even nano-sized particle. We subjected different kinds of face masks to a test.
Bali, ang gagawin po natin is ikakat po natin yung sample so para makita natin din yung layers ng mask.
Using an optical microscope or a low-power stereo microscope, the N95 mask was magnified 20 times. The surgical mask was examined next. These images show the differences between the two types of face masks.
Ikukumpara mo yung dalawang images, yung N95 is mas pino, no? Yung mas ito kasi mas malalawak yung pagkakalayo ng mga fiber. So ano pong implication on? Ano pong ibig sabihin nun? So yung N95 ay mas mataas ang efficiency niya to protect, no? Let's say the person from inhaling particles na medyo yung mas maliit.
Monsada added that N95 face masks can also protect users from bacteria and viruses like the virus that causes severe acute respiratory syndrome or SARS.
Kaya sinabing N95, ibig sabihin, ito kasi designed, no, to protect or remove particles less than or smaller than as small as 0.3 micron.
We also placed a towel and piece of cloth cut from a t-shirt under the same microscope. It was noticeable the distances of fibers or threads are wider. Another modern equipment the DOST has is the Field Emission Scanning Electron Microscope. Ash from Taal Volcano that fell at the DOST Central Office in Taguig City was subjected to its test.
Kung titingnan po natin yung scale, nasa 2 microns na yung ganyan kahaba. So itong mga thin sheets na to, mga 1 micron or less.
Based dun sa result ng EDX natin, sir, may mga particles na may nakwitang sulfur.
Mga gaano kaya
in terms of percent, nakita pinakamataas is 9%.
DOST observed the farther from the Taal Volcano ash has reached, the smaller its particles are. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Angelo Castro III left off. I am Alex Baltazar, and here are the headlines. More shelters opened in Danawan City in Batangas for additional evacuees. The National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council assures there is sufficient supply of relief goods if Taal activity continues. Taal Lake fisher folks affected by the volcano's eruption appeal to authorities to allow them to deliver their catch to other areas. The Department of Education orders schools to accept transferees affected by Taal's unrest. And private businesses and individuals display spirit of volunteerism as they provide aid to evacuees in Batangas. Good evening. Some additional evacuation centers have been opened in Danawan City, Batangas. But residents who are fleeing their barangays are advised to head for another evacuation area other than the old municipal hall in Danawan. Asher Cadapan Jr. tells us why.
There's no lockdown, but a mandatory evacuation is continuously implemented in some barangays in Danawan, a city that lies near the Taal Volcano. 21 barangays in Danawan City are within the 14-kilometer danger zone of the volcano. 6 barangays are situated near the Taal Lake. The police and the military continue to monitor strategic places to identify the number of residents still staying within the danger zone.
Hindi nila nakita yung talagang impact with what happened on day 1 dun sa Lakeshore Barangay. Ang kanila rin, katulad din namin dito, maaaring na-experience lang nila yung asphalt. So, parang they have this thinking in their mind, bakit kailangan namin?
Affected residents keep on arriving in designated evacuation centers in Danawan City. More evacuation centers have been opened. At least 1,100 families or more than 4,000 individuals are taking shelter in 13 evacuation centers in Danawan City, according to the Department of Social Welfare and Development as of today. Even Gymnasium 2 of the old municipal hall is being used by evacuees. The Quezon City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management has allotted 10 mobile showers and 165 modular tents. Each tent can accommodate 2 to 3 families. The Department of Health provides anti-measles vaccines for children 9 months to 4 years old. Vaccines are also given to 1-year-old babies. As of now, the old municipal hall is already full of evacuees. Residents fleeing their barangays are advised to proceed to other evacuation areas. Asher Cadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, Danawan City.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council assures there is enough supply of relief goods for evacuees should the Taal Volcano's activities continue. Mirasola Bogadil details why.
Authorities have observed that the Taal Volcano's activities have weakened, but should they continue for months, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or NDRRMC says the needs of evacuees will be addressed sufficiently by the government.
Pasok pa rin po, sufficiente pa rin po siya para matustusan yung pangangailangan ng mga kababayan natin.
According to Timbal, the government supplies are replenished immediately before they come to a critical level. A family box from the DSWD has enough enough food to feed a family of 5 for 2 to 3 days. Hygiene kits and masks are also distributed by government agencies to the evacuees. According to the NDRRMC, there are more than 12,000 families equal to more than 53,000 individuals staying at 244 evacuation centers across Batangas and Cavite provinces. These numbers may increase as lockdown is imposed in several towns. More and more evacuation centers are open to accommodate more evacuees as some temporary shelters are already full. Some temporary shelters can no longer accommodate further.
Sinisigurado po natin na evacuation centers natin ay hindi magkakaroon ng mas matinding discomfort yung mga kababayan natin.
Timbal adds the government ensures that every evacuation center can provide support to Filipinos fleeing the wrath of the Taal Volcano. Mirasol Abgadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Fisher folks in Taal Lake appeal to authorities to allow them to deliver their catch to other areas, but authorities prohibit them. Jun Surya will tell us why.
Normal activities could be observed in Taal Lake, Talisay, Batangas yesterday. Andres Malabanan, one of the fishermen there, even had a good catch.
May 100 kilo na.
Oo.
Anong isda po?
Tilapia.
Tilapia?
Oo.
Iyon po yung mga pinakawalan sa Fiscates.
Oo.
So libre na sa inyo yun.
Abay, oo.
Saan nyo dadalhin?
Ari, i-stack namin.
Stack muna?
Oo.
Bakit po?
Pag nakaisang buwan.
Oo.
Siyempre, ayos lang ang dagat.
Oo.
Ayos na rin siguro kalamidad.
Oo.
O di, tsaka namin ibibinta.
Opo.
But according to Nazario Briguera, Chief of the Information and Fisherfolk Coordination of the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, fishing is not allowed in Taal Lake due to the sulfur spewed by the volcano. Such prohibition is a burden for businessmen on the island.
Sana naman po yung isda namin payagan ng maibiyahe dahil arin naman po iligtas.
Saan po pinipigilan?
Dito po sa may boundary ng Talisay, Tanawan. Ayaw po nilang padaanin.
Fish cage owners on Taal Island await the result of authorities' assessment as to whether the fish caught in Taal Lake pose danger to human health so that they could recover their ₱1 million worth of livelihood. Jun Suriao, UNTV, News and Rescue, Talisay, Batangas.
The entire province of Cavite is now under a state of calamity due to the eruption of Taal Volcano. Cavite Governor John Vic Remulla said Wednesday that the province was put under a state of calamity to aid evacuees. The declaration will allow the local government of Cavite to tap into calamity funds. Cavite is the second province to declare a state of calamity following Batangas, where Taal Volcano is located. Meanwhile, the Department of Education, or DepEd, has ordered schools to accept student transferees from areas affected by the Taal Volcano eruption, even without the necessary documents. In a memorandum, DepEd said this move was among its emergency measures in response to the eruption of Taal, which has displaced thousands of families from their homes in Batangas and nearby provinces. Teaching and non-teaching personnel shall be deployed to evacuation centers to conduct an inventory of school-age children and facilitate their endorsement to receiving schools. A resolution to investigate the alleged lapses of Phivolcs in disseminating information about the Taal Volcano's eruption has been filed in Congress. For Malacanang, it is up to the lawmakers whether or not to probe Phivolcs. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
Alleged lapses in information dissemination regarding the Taal Volcano eruptions. This is the content of the resolution filed by Cavite 4th District Representative Elpidio Barsaga Jr. to investigate even the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or Phivolcs. The lawmaker says there were no news bulletins and SMS alerts from Phivolcs on January 12 when the volcano started to show hazards of eruption. According to Malacanang, it is up to Congress to investigate and let the lawmakers decide if they would approve the resolution or not. The palace says, however, President Rodrigo Duterte is satisfied with the performance of concerned government agencies, including Phivolcs Officer in Charge and Science and Technology Secretary Renato Solidum.
Magaling nga itong si Director Solidum, mahusay magpaliwanag.
I am really
very pleased, very happy that all agencies are here on hand and trying their best to do their best to help the community.
Netizens are criticizing Congressman Barsaga for his proposal. For some, this is merely grandstanding, while others believe Phivolcs does not have lapses, and this is just merely politicking. There are also some who think it's the government's calamity funds that must be investigated. Meanwhile, Albay 2nd District Representative Joey Salceda says that at times like this, Filipinos should unite. The Solon thinks the basic duty of Congress is to help affected residents and not to investigate. Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Help is pouring in places affected by the Taal Volcano eruption. Many are also migrating to the city because of the natural disaster. The fastest way to travel is using a vehicle. Here are some survival tips when driving during an earthquake, as Mon Hokson reports.
Because tremors are frequently recorded in the Philippines, especially now that the Taal Volcano remains to be with activities, we must know what to do when driving during an earthquake. First, don't panic. When driving, chances are you won't notice the ground is shaking. However, as the intensity of the earthquake increases, you will feel your tires wobbling. Be calm, fasten your seatbelt, and stay alert. Stay inside your car. Your vehicle has more mobility than you have when you are on foot. And worse comes to worse, it can also serve as your protection and shield against falling debris. Gradually decrease your speed and observe your surroundings. Third, drive to an open spot. Carefully drive yourself to an open road or spot to avoid getting crushed or get hit by other cars. Move away from bridges and flyovers, especially if you're under them. Fourth, park to safety. If you've found a spot, go ahead and park. However, stay alert and observe your surroundings. It will also help if you can turn on your car's radio and wait for announcements from the local government. It's best to get out of a bridge or a flyover during an earthquake. But if you find yourself trapped in one, your best chance of survival is to determine where its support pillars are located. If you're unable to do so with your car, leave your vehicle and stay by the support pillars. When in a tunnel, carefully drive yourself out of the tunnel. If you're trapped in a traffic jam and the earthquake is pretty intense, leave your vehicle and run out to the nearest exit. If it's a long tunnel, stay inside the car and get a hold of food, water, and emergency kit. It's still better to be trapped inside the car than to be crushed while running out to safety. After the shock, check yourself and passengers for injuries. Listen to the radio and wait for updates. If you're in a place near the sea, wait for tsunami warnings so you'll know if the coast you're at isn't safe anymore. Don't proceed to driving anywhere yet if possible. But if you need to do so, check the roads and infrastructures for cracks and damages. Avoid driving through dilapidated streets and fallen power lines. While protecting your car is understandable, your life and safety during an earthquake is more valuable than any other investment you have worked hard for. Mon Hokson, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Filipinos once again display the spirit of volunteerism in the aftermath of another natural calamity. But some volunteers say helping others should not be done only during emergency situations. Nia Armilio tells us why.
Various government agencies have immediately responded to the needs of residents affected by the Taal Volcano eruption last Sunday. Help has been pouring since. But not only the government, but also private groups and individuals have chosen to act and show our fellow Filipinos in Batangas they are not alone in facing such natural calamity. Just like Jones Boutique in cooperation with a non-profit organization who extended help to Batangueño evacuees in Pansin Elementary School, Alfonso, and Luksuhin High School in Cavite. Even the National Union of Students of the Philippines continues to invite youth volunteers to join them in giving aid to evacuees at the Agoncillo Relief Center, Bawan, Batangas. Volunteers from Nasugbu West Central School do not mind getting tired just to reach out to fellow Batangas citizens. And despite being poor, he says, the vlogger behind Read Motovlog is happy to help, even behind the camera. From Pampanga to Batangas City, he helped transport relief items. Even the owners and employees of Venture Out Travel and Tours, a Metro Manila-based travel agency, co-owner Ella Valdez says they launched a relief operation to help evacuees in Batangas in accordance with their advocacy.
Yun po kasi yung advocacy namin. Hindi man po ganun kalaki yung agency namin and hindi pa po ganun kalaki yung kinikita namin, pero meron po kaming sabihin na agency po kaming may puso.
Ms. Ella adds she also witnessed other travel agencies give aid to the evacuees. 19-year-old student beauty queen Joan Rizal Ramos of General Trias Cavite, on the other hand, offered her service to deliver relief goods from various households using her own vehicle this coming Sunday.
Ginather ko po lahat ng mga donations. Nagpunta po ako sa bahay-bahay para mas madami po akong makuwang tulong po na para may padala po namin sa Batangas or kami po mismo talaga magdadala.
For both Ella and Joanne, this may be a difficult time, but this is not only the opportunity we can grab to extend help to our fellow Filipinos.
I think volunteerism is really should be and dapat talaga na paigtingin pa natin, hindi lang sa times ng pangangailangan. Aantayin pa ba natin na may mangyari before tayo magtulungan? Kasi kapwa Pilipino naman tayo, di ba?
Wala po siyang pinipiling panahon kasi po kada nagkakaroon ng natural disaster po, tayo rin po talaga nagtutulungan. Kung sana natin siyang binibigay sa ibang tao na walang hinihinging kapalit as long as makatulong lang po talaga tayo.
The Philippines may be a third world country, but the Filipino people are rich in kindness and good deeds during natural disasters and beyond. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
To complete the most significant news for this day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. The Department of Justice has approved the filing of criminal charges against former PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde and 12 other policemen in relation to the anomalous anti-drug operation in Mexico, Pampanga, in November 2013. A panel of prosecutors have found probable cause to indict Albayalde for graft for his non-implementation of an order which sought to penalize the so-called ninja cops involved in the drug raid. The panel likewise found probable cause to charge 12 other police officers, including Police Superintendent Rodney Baloyo for planting of evidence and other violations of the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, graft and qualified bribery. Baloyo and his men were found to have misappropriated drugs when they declared that only 36 kilos of shabu were seized during the operations, while subsequent investigation indicated that 200 kilos of shabu was actually recovered. The group also declared that only 300,000 pesos were obtained from the operation, while evidence showed that said amount reached 10 million pesos. The testimonies of two retired police generals during a Senate inquiry prompted the Department of Justice to probe Albayalde and the reopen of the case of the so-called ninja cops. Bureau of Corrections personnel confiscated illegal substance and bladed weapons inside the reception and diagnostic center of the New Bilibid prison. A Bible was also seized by Bucor personnel. Sherwin Kulabong will tell us why.
Bureau of Corrections personnel raided the 3-story reception and diagnostic center or RDC of the New Bilibid prison in Muntinlupa City at about 4 a.m. today. Bucor confiscated through Oplan Galugad several packets of suspected shabu stored inside matchboxes. The Bucor personnel also seized one cell phone, several bladed weapons, playing cards, and more than 80,000 pesos.
One way na rin na maipakita natin sa kanila na yung pinanggalingan nila na jail, kung doon ay meron silang nagagawa, dito hindi talaga pwede yung gagawin nila yung nagagawa nila noon. Kaya pinapakita namin dito na kahit bagong santla sila dito sa Bucor is pinipilit natin na magkaroon tayo na zero contraband pagdating sa ating mga pasilidad.
Also seized was a Bible curb at the center inside it, where contraband was found.
Yung mga inmate natin, siyempre, kung ibigyan sila ng mga pastor ng Bible natin, akala mo nagbabasa. Ito pwedeng cellphone, pwedeng substance ang inilagay dito.
According to Bucor Public Information Officer Chief Gabriel Chaklag, though illegal substances were confiscated inside the diagnostic center, its amount is less than how much was confiscated in previous years.
We chose the RDC not because we have intelligence report pointing that we have contrabands, but we feel that we need to do or we need to conduct this kind of operation. So ang guidance ni Director General Bantag ay umpisahan natin sa RDC. Kasi ito yung unang salta ng mga PDL pag napupunta sila dito sa National Bilibid Prisons.
More than 1,600 PDLs are within the RDC as of today. Among them are retired General Jovito Palparan and Police Major Rodney Baloyo, one of the alleged Ninja Cops. Sherwin Kulubong, UNTV, News and Rescue, Muntinlupa City.
The Health Department confirms 4 new cases of polio virus in the country. According to the Research Institute of Tropical Medicine, the new cases are recorded in Maguindanao, Sultan Kudarat, and Quezon, with patients all below 5 years old. The DOH said the children manifested fever, diarrhea, muscle pain, asymmetric ascending paralysis, and weakness of extremities. This brings the total number of polio cases in the country to 16 since its re-emergence in September 2019 after the country's 2 decades of being polio-free. The Department of Health has extended its vaccination rounds scheduled on January 20 to February 2 in Mindanao and on January 27 to February 7 in the National Capital Region. The DOH continues its appeal to parents to have their children vaccinated. Shellfish from Bataan, Puerto Princesa, and 7 other coastal waters in the country are still positive for red tide toxin. Based on the latest bulletin of the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BIFAR, the coastal waters of Dawis and Tagbiliran City in Bohol are still positive for paralytic shellfish poison. Irong-Irong, San Pedro, Silanga Bays in western Samar, Matarinaw Bay in eastern Samar, Cancabato Bay, Tacloban City in Leyte, and Lianga Bay in Surigao del Sur. According to BIFAR, it's not safe to eat shellfish and alamang collected in those areas, while fish, squid, shrimps, and crabs are safe for human consumption as long as they are washed thoroughly. Several Filipino community groups in Australia unite towards one goal: to support and provide assistance to Filipinos affected by the raging bushfires in Australia, particularly in Victoria State. Nina Bascon will tell us why.
And Cecile Villarreal are some of the Filipino Australians residing in East Gippsland, Victoria, Australia, affected by the destructive bushfires. East Gippsland is one of the severely hit areas in the state. At first, they felt safe since their homes are surrounded by a river. But they admit they are now worried about their condition since the weather condition is becoming worse while the wildfires continue to rage. They are grateful to God for keeping them out of harm's way.
Doesn't matter kung may river siya, masasakop kami. But yun nga, thank God, nag-change yung wind direction, nag-change yung weather. So, hindi kami naapektuhan. But also, the following day, merong threat na amber attack. So, yun din, hindi ka makatulog kasi nga anytime, baka ma-damage yung property mo. So, it's not a very, very good feeling to be in that situation. Mentally disturbing actually.
I felt safe but because yung ang bahay ko kasi it's very near to the water, much nearer than Bairnsdale, but because yung advice ng emergency Victoria, if you can evacuate, please evacuate.
Rowena and Cecile are among those who were personally met by Philippine Deputy Consul General Anthony Mandap and Filipino groups, the Council for Australian-Filipino Organization of Victoria Incorporated, or CAFOVI, and Gawad Kalinga. The Philippine Consulate Office traveled for 3 hours from Melbourne to Locksport, together with CAFOVI and Gawad Kalinga and the UNTV News team to check the condition of Filipinos affected by the bushfires. Deputy Consul General Mandap assured the government has been providing the necessary support and assistance for the crisis-affected Filipinos.
They are being taken care of. They are receiving relief assistance, and they are in good spirits right now. So, inaantabayan na lang namin kung sakaling mangailangan sila ng tulong. We are open to repatriating some of them if they request so. They are displaced and would like to take the option to return to the Philippines instead. But so far wala namang ganun kasi andito na rin yung mga pamilya nila, no?
The groups also call for help for bushfire-affected Filipinos in the state.
At ang mensahe lang namin sa lahat, patuloy nating pagtibayin ang pagtulong, hindi lang sa relief operations, but on a more sustainable level, tulungan nating makaahon ang mga taong talagang naapektuhan itong bushfire.
Kuminsan na ma-crisis na ganito ang nagbubuklod sa atin. So I think pagkakataon nito para sa pagtutulungan at pagdadamayan, alam naman ng mga Pilipino, nakaugat sa ugali, sa kultura natin yung pagtutulungan, yung bayanihan spirit. So let's help each other, let's stay in touch, makibalita at makipag-ugnayan sa mga kababayan natin.
Nina Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue, Australia.
And for the news abroad, here's Kat Dumaraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Kat, good evening.
Good evening, Alex. Japan has confirmed the first case of infection from the new coronavirus that has been reported in China. A man in his 30s from Kanagawa Prefecture, southwest of Tokyo, tested positive, the Japan's health ministry said. The man had been to the Chinese city of Wuhan, where there has been an outbreak of pneumonia believed to be caused by the new coronavirus strain, it said. He reportedly returned from China to Japan with a fever and was hospitalized. He was released on Wednesday after the symptoms subsided, according to the health ministry statement. The World Health Organization, or WHO, had earlier warned that the new virus could spread and alerted hospitals worldwide. On Monday, a Chinese woman was also ordered quarantined in Thailand after contacting the virus, authorities said. Authorities in Asia have stepped up monitoring at airports ahead of next week's holiday, when hundreds of thousands of Chinese tourists are expected to travel domestically and abroad. The U.S. House of Representatives has passed a resolution to submit articles of impeachment against President Donald Trump to the Senate for a trial. The resolution passed largely along party lines by 228 votes to 193. Beverly Sison details this report.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi signed copies of the articles of impeachment alongside the team of Democratic lawmakers who will prosecute the case against U.S. President Donald Trump. The resolution passed largely along party lines by 228 votes to 193. The House, controlled by opposition Democrats, impeached the president last month. The Senate, controlled by Trump's Republican Party, will decide whether to convict and remove him from office. The articles were then transferred to the Senate, where Republican Senate Leader Mitch McConnell said they would be exhibited on Thursday at noon, followed by a reading on the floor of the upper chamber. He said the trial would begin on Tuesday. The president is accused of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. He denies trying to pressure Ukraine's leader during a phone call on July 25th last year to open an investigation into his would-be Democratic White House challenger, Joe Biden. Trump has been touting unsubstantiated corruption claims about Biden and his son Hunter, who accepted a lucrative board position with a Ukrainian energy firm, while his father handled American-Ukraine relations as U.S. Vice President. Biden is one of a dozen candidates campaigning for the Democratic Party's White House nomination. The Senate trial will be only the third of a U.S. president in history. Beverly Sison, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
Russia's government has resigned hours after President Vladimir Putin proposed sweeping constitutional changes. If approved by the public, the proposals would transfer power from the presidency to parliament. The Russian president is due to step down in 2024 when his fourth term of office comes to an end. Putin put forward his plans in his annual State of the Nation address to lawmakers. Rome banned all diesel vehicles from its roads for the first time to try to combat rising pollution, with numerous other cities in central and northern Italy also imposing curbs to cut harmful emissions. Jovic Burmas has this story.
Air pollution has spiked above normal levels for up to 10 consecutive days in Milan, Rome, Florence, Turin, Venice, and several parts of Emilia-Romagna. With the air not forecast to clear for several more days, several cities have introduced restrictions on driving, central heating, and open flames, including a ban on diesel vehicles in central Rome that is expected to affect some 700,000 drivers. The alarm concerns levels of fine particle pollution known as PM10, which can be linked to respiratory disorders, allergies, poisoning, and cancer. Warm, windless weather has helped drop pollution and created what's been dubbed a smog emergency across large parts of Italy, with dozens of towns reporting poorer than average air quality over the past fortnight. Meanwhile, Rome has extended its ban on diesel vehicles for a further 2 days in attempts to curb pollution levels amid a smog emergency. All diesel vehicles are banned within the city's fascia verde or green belt, a limited traffic zone, during the busiest hours, 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on both days. City authorities said that the measure was necessary to reduce high pollution levels, which currently exceed the smog limit. Drivers of diesel vehicles caught by traffic police within the limited zone at these times face a potential fine. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue, Europe.
And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Kath Dumaraos from Bangkok, Thailand. The large part of the town of Agoncillo in Batangas is now covered with thick ashes and sand. But one of the affected residents born when the volcano erupted more than 50 years ago believes there is a colorful life ahead. June Soria will tell us why.
When the Taal Volcano erupted on September 26, 1965, Felix Alilio was born in Agoncillo, Batangas. Felix recounts that he was taken by his family straight to evacuate because of the destructive volcanic activity. Growing up, he saw how their town suffered calamities and recovered. With Taal Lake's natural richness, Felix has earned a living. But as the volcano erupted, in a matter of seconds, everything he possessed was buried by the volcano.
Ghost town na po sa amin sa Barangay Banyaga po. Then yung ibang barangay, gayon na rin po yung nadadaanan kasi bago po kami dumating yung bayan na Agoncillo, 2 barangay at 3 barangay pa po kami. Pero wala na po kami babalikan. Wala na po kami hanap buhay, wala na yung aming palaisdaan.
Agoncillo town is now in great distress. None of the green is visible. Only ash and sand. Houses with no beam were completely destroyed. Concrete houses are no longer suitable to give shelter.
Makakaya uli ng bayan niyo yun?
Palagay ko naman po, kaya lang po medyo matatagalan po, aabutin po ng buwan. Siyempre, ang amin po na lang pag-asa, yung magiging tulong sa amin ng ating Pangulo.
Though all his properties and livelihood have all turned gray, deep within Felix's heart, he hopes for a bright and colorful future ahead, vowing not to surrender, but continue to live life. June Soriao, UNTV, News and Rescue, Tagaytay City.
UNTV and members Church of God International bring their medical mission to Santo Tomas, Batangas. More than 300 evacuees benefited from the medical services. Grace Casin tells us why.
Perfecto Jamora's family is among the thousands of residents from Talisay and Laurel, Batangas, temporarily staying in Polytechnic University of the Philippines Santo Tomas, Batangas campus. The school is being utilized as an evacuation center after the Taal Volcano eruption last January 12. Perfecto's wife and grandchildren are suffering from illnesses. He is grateful for the medical services brought to them by UNTV and Members Church of God International.
Salamat na lang. Salamat. Malaki po. Malaking tulong nila. Nakaayos ang namin. Yung katawan.
More than 3,000 individuals avail the services and the medical missions, including 44 children. Aside from the free medical services, UNTV and MCGI distributed food and gifts to the children at the PUP campus.
Maganda po. Papaglaruan po. Papaglaruan. Maganda. Source. Dinosaur, pati. Lion. Salamat po.
UNTV and MCGI will bring their medical mission to other parts of Batangas to give free medical services. Grace Cassin, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this January 16, 2020. On behalf of Angelo Castro III, I am Alex Baltazar. And before we close, we will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
So yung mga paglindol, yung naulat po na pagbitak ng lupa kahapon, nung isang araw pa, at ang pag-atras ng tubig ng lawa, pati na rin po ang pagtuyo ng Pansipit River, maaring maging malakas na pagputok ng bulkan. Kaya po sa kasalukuyan ay nakatalaga pa ang alert level 4 sa paligid po ng Bulkang Taal.
May limited time lang kami ibinigay kasi sabi namin sa kanila, hindi namin pwedeng payagan kayo dyan forever kasi what is the use of the evacuation pag lahat naman babalik, so the same people na naman, kakakuti na naman natin lahat. Dapat siguro in every family, katulad nung pina-implement namin dun sa mga hard-hit areas, in every family siguro, isa, dalawa lang, hindi yung buong pamilya ang babalik.
Pasok pa rin po. Sufficiente pa rin po siya para matustusan yung pangangailangan ng mga kababayan natin.
Sana naman po yung isda namin payagan ng maibiyahe dahil arin naman po iligtas.
Saan po pinipigilan?
Dito po sa may boundary ng Talisay, Tanawan. Ayaw po nilang padaanin.
Kung ikukumpara mo yung dalawang images, yung N95 is mas pino. No, yung mas ito kasi mas malalawak yung pagkakalayo ng mga fiber. So ano pong implication noon? Ano pong ibig sabihin noon? So yung N95 ay mas mataas ang efficiency niya to protect the person from inhaling particles that are smaller and the particles na mas maliit.